So take your own blue ballpoint. That's a good point. And it's right around the corner. So let's talk a little bit about the issues that you're most, there's so many issues in Arizona, unfortunately, but we know the border. Let's start there. That's the biggest one at our most dangerous, coming at us directly.
Sure. Yeah. It's literally in our front doorstep. Unfortunately, now what used to be just maybe more isolated Arizona, Texas, California issue is now a United States
nationwide,
issue. So, and it's because we have incompetent people in office. This could have been fixed, and I blame Republicans just as much as I do Democrats.
Agreed.
Paul Ryan could have had this fixed the first 2 years of Trump. He didn't do it.
Right.
He's part of the uniparty establishment, and that's exactly why we need to vote these people out of office and never let them back in and never let anybody like them back in.
That's right.
In leadership positions, we have people in the Republican Party that would probably win their race, where they're at. But as far as them assuming a leadership position, we need to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I agree, because they are equally to blame. It's not a House and Senate full of Democrats the last 12 years. So it's 50-50.
You got to take some responsibility,
so
right?
So it's both parties, yeah. The people who have been in haven't seemed to want to move very quickly to our benefit, and that's who they're working for. So that's not good.
No,
that's terrible. We're paying their salary. Like, I have a business, you have a business. I know you wouldn't keep an employee who was just goofing off and taking trips and junkets and flying overseas to Europe and meeting with people, which they could do on Zoom, by the way, in 2022. Nobody needs a private jet. I'm just going to say that right now. I don't know why you don't use Zoom. Carrie, our Carrie, he doesn't use Zoom. Just saying, 2022.
Only us peasants have to use Zoom.
I know. Ooh, that's right. That's what they do. So how can you help, if you get into Congress, how can you help at our border?
Well, we need to finish the wall. That's, I think, pretty obvious. Like Trump always says, walls on wheels always work.
Right. Don't have to reinvent.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's funny.
True.
And he brought it up again last night. And I haven't heard it for a while.
They'll never not work.
Yeah, they'll never not work. Find something better than a wheel. Let me know.
Right.
I want to put in on that. I want to get invested.
Yeah,
in on
please
that.
Let me know.
Yeah, so.
I am not in the House or the Senate. I can get an insider tip.
Exactly. There's something better than a wheel. There
it's not illegal for me.
Yeah. And Nancy Pelosi can do it.
But if Nancy Pelosi can, they can do it. We can do it.
She does it all the time. So we have, we got to finish the wall. We need all the bells and whistles on it. Ground penetrating radar. Like Carrie says, shoot the drones out of the sky.
Right.
Why are we letting this happen? I was just down at the border with Tim Foley, and I took congressional candidate for South Carolina, Garrett Barton, down with me, and we went to the border. Chad Caton, who does a show, and we went down there. I told him, "You want to see the border, or do you really want to see the border?"
Chad Liberty Report, Chad?
No, different guy.
Okay.
Yeah, different guy. He's from South Carolina as well, and so we were going to get with Sheriff Lamb and do the typical
walk through
thing, but then we decided to go with Tim, and we drove 45 minutes in the middle of no cell signal, nothing, middle of nowhere, and around Arivaca, but still a half hour even from Arivaca. We see Tim. He's like, "You'll see me by a tree. I'll park my truck." I don't even know. I was getting kind of concerned.
Lone man on the hill.
Yeah, we were literally in mountains, these crappy roads, and we see Tim, and we started laughing. There's Tim just hanging out. So then he shows us, there's the cartel, pulls out a scope, there's the cartels, you see him, shows us everything. And I've been with him before, so I kind of knew what to expect. Then we went down closer to the border. We hiked about probably 3/4 a mile through this ravine and everything else to where the border wall was. Now this I haven't done with him. But we went down there, saw the gap in the wall, but we were there, it was just us. We didn't have no police escort or sheriffs or anybody with it. We had weapons.
Well, yeah, obviously anybody is allowed to traipse through the jungle out there in the desert because it's unimpeded all the way across.
Yeah,
so that doesn't surprise me that you can just go wander around.
We were armed.
With cartel.
But we threw a drone up. And Chad had one, he threw it up, and we could see at the top of the hill, that kind of goes like this along the wall.
Into a valley, yeah.
And we saw 3 cartel on the other side, the scouts. And Tim's like, those are scouts. And the one guy looks like he's sleeping, taking a nap, and the other 2 saw the drone, We're like, well, it's getting kind of dark, we better get out of here. And apparently at the same location we were at the Saturday before, I think we were there on a Tuesday or Wednesday, but the Saturday before, there was a shootout between the 2 Sinaloa cartels that are fighting for that territory. Because 60% of the drugs, like the big money stuff that comes through that exact corridor. And I was like, we probably should leave. So,
Yeah.
on the way out, and it was literally dark when we were driving out. It was black, and we were in the middle of nowhere. Still no cell service. It had been about 8 hours. Now, I told Bella, I didn't tell her before we left I wasn't going to have cell service. So that's a funny story.
That's great. I'm sure she
Yeah. Well,
totally
she called Nogales
appreciated that.
police and said we're missing because she knew.
Sorry, as a girl who worries about somebody, that's not an uncommon response.
Yeah, she
when you
knew.
don't hear from somebody and they're out in the desert with cartel members.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
So on Bella's behalf, who I don't
Yeah.
know, I've never met her, I'm just going to say, you're not the only one.
No, she totally
You're not
was
the only
freaking
one,
out.
Bella.
Yeah,
So that's a female reaction.
Yeah, it definitely was because she
Or
called.
I guess it's
She
a
was
human
calling
reaction
everybody.
of anybody you care about.
Yeah, she was calling my friend Stephen Shelby. Like,
I'm
have
sure.
you heard from Josh? Have you heard? And Tim has a sat phone. But we didn't. So we were driving out. We see a fire, like a campfire. We're like, who? And it's gone. There's no one around. It's on the side of a mountain. So we're kind of upset because they could have burned the whole mountain down.
Right.
Like it was literally this big, 6
Yeah,
foot
as if
round
they
fire.
care if they burn down the mountain.
Yeah. So we put it out. We spread it out. We put it. We Gatorade. We're doing whatever we can to throw on it. So Tim's kind of mad now at this point, right? So he sees tracks, and that's what he does, And he goes, these tracks, they're Mexican. You can tell by the shoe print, whatever. I don't know how he figures it out.
Shoes and, yeah.
So we went up the hill. All of a sudden, Tim hits his brakes, he hops out of his truck with his AR, and says something. These two guys walking toward. We hop out of the car, pitch black. Oh, we had headlights.
Sure.
They got camo on. They're walking towards us, and we were ready. Nobody pointed anything, but we were ready. And they came towards us, and they had their hands up, and they were like, agua, agua.
Okay.
So we see them, and they're like, turns out, I called Bella, because we're at the top of the mountain now. Tim's like, you got cell service. I call her, put her on speaker with these two illegals, and she's like, what are you doing? Why didn't you answer your freaking here? The guys are all laughing at me, right? and I go, I need you to translate real quick. And so these guys started
she's
talking.
Hispanic.
Yeah, because she's
Okay.
Mexican, right?
Okay.
Or came from Sonora,
Okay.
legally came here from Sonora.
Okay.
So she was translating for us. These guys came from, where they came from, and they haven't drank water for 3 days. They were starving. They we feel like we're going to die,
Right.
basically. And they had their backpacks. And we were like, we're not touching those things. So they set them down. Tim called, so Tim in the background was so funny, because I think we have this on video too, but Tim in the background, because I had her on speaker, right? And he goes, that's why I'm not married. And he's laughing,
Yeah,
right?
no, I
Bella
get
goes,
that.
who is that? I was like, that's Tim Foley. She's, okay, whatever. But she knew he was messing with her. But so Border Patrol came, took these guys in, patted them down. These guys are literally saying thank you to us, because
Wow.
they were not going to make it. I don't think they were going to make it.
Just wandering around
We
the
were in the middle of
desert.
nowhere, literally
Yeah,
at that point.
and they were wandering on
and
foot.
it was bad news for them. And, probably they would have died of dehydration more than likely, probably
Wow.
by the middle of the next day. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it really was. That's what they were
with
trying to
signal
do. They were
fire.
trying to get attention to be found. And
Wow.
so Border Patrol comes. There was drugs in the bags. The
Shocking.
coyote took off. So they got these guys, patted them out, threw them in, put the bags in plastic bags. You know what I mean? They had their gloves on. They
Right.
wouldn't touch anything.
Right.
And Garrett, that was with me. Garrett Barton, he's a doctor. So he was like, "Don't touch it."
Because the fentanyl
Yeah,
will
exactly,
kill you
possibly.
if you come
just
in
touch it, you're
contact
dead.
in your skin.
So they took off. We went on our way, went home. And so we're driving, and we're like, did we just apprehend 2 drug smugglers? Kind of joking with one another, I was like, I wonder how many congressmen were down here at gunpoint apprehending drug smugglers,
Right.
But,
They should
was,
be.
Yeah, I saw it firsthand how bad it is. And that's just very minimal, of what
One little
happens.
section.
One little
Yeah,
thing.
one little section.
And the stuff that goes on there, it's unbelievable that we as a first world country
Supposedly, that's what
allows
they say.
this to go on.
Yeah.
It's truly it's sad.
It is sad.
Because I got mad when they were pulling off. I was mad because I go, you know what, guys, they're gonna go. The Border Patrol's gonna do their job. What they're supposed to do, and they're gonna check these guys in, and they're probably gonna be in Iowa next week
Right.
and
Yeah.
never be found again.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
And they get a free ride into our country by smuggling drugs into our country.
I know, that's crazy when you say it like that. I mean,
Isn't
we
it
know they're doing
nuts?
illegal things, but when you say it like the statement, these people are getting a free ride in the United States of America for smuggling drugs that
Yeah.
kill our children daily into America. and our government in current power is funding this 100%. So it sounds weird when you say it like that all at once. Because people hear fentanyl, kids are dying, 107,000 deaths last year, drug trade, 150,000 pills. They hear this every night, right? Boom, boom, 2 seconds on the. But when you say it all in the same sentence in the paragraph, it's actually worse than anybody ever explains it to be. And if you live in a state like we do in Arizona, the crime rate that has gone up, even in far away out of Phoenix areas where I live, on the outskirts of town, for that reason to stay away from crime, it's all over the neighborhood now. The Nextdoor app says everything happening every night. So it's getting very bad. So I'm glad to hear that you obviously are fully aware of what's happening. Take the time to go down and actively participate in trying to help us with the border. That's good for people to know. And then also, I want to touch on, there's some other issues, taxes. Josh is for low taxes, I'll just say that. He's anti-CRT. But I want to talk about DCS real quick. I know
topic.
that I have my own bone to pick, but I'm not going to tell you mine. It's not important. But tell me about that and what you're going to try to do.
Oh, yours is important because it happens all the time.
Right.
So it's much like illegal immigration. We have people come through that are legitimately trying to come here for the right, I would say the right reason, but they have I would say a legitimate reason to try to get out of where they're from. Then you got the bad people, right? It's much like DCS. There's a lot of good people that work for DCS and CPS and everything else, but there's a lot of bad that happens. And
DCS is Department of Child Safety for those of you.
Yes.
Some people call it CPS, Child Protective
Arizona,
Services.
We call it DCS.
We call it DCS now. It used to be CPS. So the Protective Services for Children is the part we have a problem with. So
here's the deal. We in 2000, I think 2005, we used to have juries in CPS court. I call it CPS court because they're administrative courts. They're not real courts.
Right.
They're just administrative bulls, what I call it. They're not judicial courts where you actually have a jury. So if you're going to take something as important as a child from somebody, don't you think you should have due process?
I mean, it seems appropriate for something like that.
Yeah, I mean, in our Constitution,
all the lives are being affected long term.
Yeah, our state constitution clearly says that you should, life or anything in the private cannot be taken without a jury.
Right.
And so we have a CPS judge who's not really a judge. He's just a hearing officer. He's like a referee.
Right.
But looks like a judge.
Mediator.
So if you don't know the law, if you don't know that he's not a real judge, and you don't know you're not in a real court, they're just going to run you over.
Right.
So they do, and they do it all the time. So we have two things that need to happen. There's a bill that went through. Martin Lynch wrote a bill that went through the House Judiciary unanimously, which rarely happens, it seems nowadays. Went through the House, got passed, went to the Senate, and then got tabled. And what it was to put juries back in CPS courts. So in 2005, when we used to have juries in CPS courts, about 87% of the cases were sent back home. Like the kids going back home.
Right.
These are frivolous.
Which isn't always correct either.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on things. These are frivolous. Right. The kids going back home with the parents. This wasn't enough of a reason to take somebody's child, right? 13% were the bad ones, the bad cases.
Sure.
Which is why we have CPS or DCS.
Right.
So what they did is they figured out a way to make money. So they figured, well, we aren't making money unless we put these kids into the system. Right. So then they took the juries out and said, oh, it's just so much time and so much hassle. Oh, I'm sorry, it's so much hassle. You're taking somebody's kid from their family.
Right.
Like, really?
You can't go through the process.
Thing? Yeah, it's complete bull. And they decided they're going to make a lot of money. Now it's $1 billion industry.
Yep.
Over $1 billion industry just in Arizona. And they're taking people's kids without due process.
And you mean $1 billion industry, I would assume part of that is from the fees that they charge the parents to go through the court system, parenting classes, and
they always
and
move the goalposts and they keep dragging it out.
Yep.
Every time the kids are moved and put into a home, they get anywhere from $80,000 to $120,000-ish per year per child.
To the state.
Yeah. So from Title 42, which is not, by the way, Title 42 is a non-positive law. It's never been enacted by Congress.
Right.
So they just keep maneuvering and twisting
Morphing
it and do
it.
whatever they want.
It's how they want it.
So it needs to be codified, but to protect the parent. But
right.
if I always say this argument just makes sense to me. If a parent does something so terrible to take their child, why are they not arrested?
Right. There's that
Wouldn't
too.
you be arrested?
I would think so. Harming
Never
a child
happens.
in any
I say
way.
never.
Right.
Hardly ever happens.
Hardly ever.
Very, very rarely does that happen. And now we have a corrupt, because money corrupts everything. It seems
True.
like. Now we have a corrupt DCS system in Arizona, not just here, but all across the nation.
And what are you going to hope to contribute to maybe fixing or correcting some wrongs they've done?
Well, we can, and federally we can attack it from Title 42, and implement things from that standpoint. But
Right.
I'm going to advocate and work with my people here in Arizona. With
You have
Carrie
support
Lake.
on this, I
Yes,
assume.
with Carrie Lake,
Yeah.
with Martin Lynch, who wrote the initial legislation, and
Okay.
some of the state legislators that are going to be coming in to simply put those juries back into courts, in the CPS courts,
Right.
and give these parents due process. I think that simple fix right there will get rid of 87% of the problem.
Of the cases.
But it's also going to take about $800 million away from DCS.
Well, that could be a good thing.
Well, it's a good thing, but to them, it's not.
Of course.
We're talking about the deep state.
Nobody wants their budget cut.
The bureaucracy, the deep
Right.
state. That's what we're dealing with right now. And unfortunately, we have people that would rather put money over the people.
Yep.
We did it here with COVID. I remember Kelly Townsend saying, "Well, if we get the $450 million from the federal, we can go and open the state back up." I'm like, "Really? So you're saying we could open the state up right now,
Wow.
but it's because of money you're not opening it up? Is that right, Ducey?"
Yep.
It's 100% what happened, and it's disgusting. And that's why we need real people running for office, and we need somebody like Carrie Lake to be the next governor to not let this happen ever again.
That's what we're hoping and praying happens at this next
I'm
primary
plugging
on
Carrie
August
Lake
2nd.
if you haven't
Yeah,
been able to tell, because Karen Robson
Right,
Taylor,
Karen
whatever
Robeson.
her name is, it doesn't even matter.
Yep.
She's the epitome of the establishment.
Right.
She's the epitome of the. Look who's supporting her: Doug Ducey and Mike Pence.
Yeah, Mike Pence, that was a
That
disappointment,
should tell
I
you
will
right
say
there
for
not
sure.
to vote for her.
Yeah,
Yes,
McCain
yes,
money, right,
exactly.
rears its ugly head again. Well, Josh, we have learned a lot today. I am glad to have had you. I don't know,
I could go for 2 more hours.
I know. That's what I was going to say. We could probably talk for a lot longer and will in the future because in addition to the August 2nd primary coming up, so get your votes ready, get your education, get your hands on some Googles. Google is a great source. You read all about people. Check out my YouTube channel at Patriot Mom 007. There will be a full interview that you're just seeing right now as I'm saying this, along with some other candidates right behind it. So use that to choose because you're hearing right from them. There's nothing edited or cut, and they're telling you stuff right from them, from their heart. So tell us the website for people to find you.
Sure, it's barnettforaz.com,
Okay.
at Barnett for AZ on Truth, and Twitter and Instagram,
Okay.
and Josh Barnett for Congress on Facebook.
Okay.
And I think I'm at Barnett for AZ on Getter as well.
Okay.
I try to get on as many as I can.
Yeah,
so,
I am too. So I'll put them up in the bio as well. So you'll definitely be able to find them with links. So I'm going to leave with this, and this is a quote from Carrie Lake.
Can I say something real quick?
Of course.
Because I want to tell the people why they should vote for me and why I'm different. Why I'm different than you. I'll make it very quick.
No,
because
but you
it's super easy.
Say it.
Schweikert voted to track your vaccination status with HR 550, to the point where people are so upset that LD15, the former LD15, censured him on it. They were not happy. We don't like our statuses tracked federally
Right.
and expand the federal database, even though his chief of staff came out to Ameripac and lied about it. It literally says expand the federal database with another $400 million.
Okay.
So he voted for that. He voted for the $40 billion to Ukraine. We're in a
Okay.
recession
Right,
right now.
we don't have
and this
that
guy's
extra.
sending $40 billion unchecked to Ukraine. Rand Paul tried to check it and said, can we get an inspector general on it? Can we
Right.
audit this money?
Accounting.
Never, they don't want it because it's money laundering is what it is.
Well, yeah, it's just
with
being
our
thrown
tax
over
money.
there. Exactly.
Schweikert voted to accept the Arizona slate on January 6th with
Okay.
the Democrats.
That's,
That was my last straw with him. That's why I was like, this guy needs to be retired. He needs to be retired.
Right.
And he went against the president, and he accepted the Arizona slate. He sent it back to have everything looked at.
Right, and there's all the
And you
civil
know me,
issues.
I've been deep into the election integrity.
You are.
And everything that's going on with Tim Rantham. Keep an eye on Monday. Tim Rantham's doing a press conference with nullifying the 2020 election based on maladministration, which I
Right.
taught him.
And didn't I just send you something about Pennsylvania doing that
Yes.
2 days ago?
Yes.
I just got a
They're
notice.
finally catching on.
Right,
I've been teaching for 2 years.
maladministration, Pennsylvania, right? Pulled back.
Yeah.
They pulled back. Did they pull back the electors?
The county voted to pull back, much like
Because
we
I don't
did
want to
here.
misquote what it was.
Yeah, the counties and like a lot of these different organizations have voted to pull back. So it's not official like that, but they're figuring out what David Jose had been teaching since November 4th, 2020. Maladministration,
Right.
rules, form, procedure, statutes are all broken.
Right.
It's provable. We know this happened. It means the election was illegally run, and no one can win an illegal election. No one can.
Right.
Not Trump, not Biden. So we're at a point where they're trying to certify something that was invalid on its face. You can't do that. It's impossible. They can't deny this. So what should happen is we should have a new election. It should be nullified, and we should have a new election.
In reality, we know that that's not going to happen.
Well, it might happen. They're going to have no choice because, for example, if Wisconsin pulls her back, if they lead the way, and they get our 10 electors are pulled back, let's say Arizona does it. It's 21.
Well, we're looking at doing it.
And we got let's say Pennsylvania. That brings it under 270.
Now, do you know of any other states, now that Pennsylvania came out with the statement the other day, do you know of any other states that are in the process or maybe looking at doing it? Have you heard?
Well, we have a Michigan legislature that's Republican, believe it or not. And we have Matt DePerno, who's been pushing hard there.
Right.
And nobody that we talk to can deny what we're saying.
No, I know the rules are in the book. So if they're broken, they're easy to discover.
The statutes are broken and everything else. So, we'll see. Like I said, it's unprecedented. Just because something's unprecedented doesn't mean it shouldn't happen.
That's right. That's how precedence is set.
Yeah, elections have been reversed. Congressional elections have been reversed before based on fraud or proof of fraud or whatever.
Correct.
So the presidential election never has, but I believe that's not a reason not to pursue things when it's done, when it's literally ran illegally.
Right, and all the down ballot too would invalidate that as well.
Ballot. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So Schweiker and all this stuff. Yes. We already know about the FEC stuff and what he's been doing, what he's been voting. He even when against Trump to pull troops out of Syria, he voted to keep them there.
Right.
This guy, I don't know what's going on, but he needs to find a new job. And then Elijah, I met with Elijah. We've talked. I have no personal ill will or anything towards him, but name one thing that he's done politically for the people, besides donate money, because he donates money all over the place, which is whatever. There's a place for that too. There's a place for that, but if you're trying to buy support, hey, tell everybody to vote for me, like whatever. But I always ask people, name one thing he's done. I asked a lady the other day. She was like, I can't think of anything. Well, it's because it's no. Right. Then they brought up Prop 208. Here's the irony. Prop 208 is the tax on rich people, right? The 2.5% tax. Well, Elisha's rich. So when it was going to affect him, he wanted to get involved, right? It's kind of ironic. But I never got involved because I knew it was going to be deemed unconstitutional. Like when it was pushed, I knew. I thought Easy AZ and Free Enterprise Club did a good job of shining light on the issue.
As they do. They were suing a lot of issues, yes.
And they got the win, and it was deemed unconstitutional, just like I said a long time ago. But it took some effort from them to do. And apparently he donated money to Free Enterprise Club or something.
Which is a worthy cause.
Yeah, that was what he did politically. And I asked the lady, and I told her what I've been doing. And she was like, yeah, but he's not in office. I go, neither am I. And she's like, oh, you're right. So, I mean, I have a track record of what I've done, whether it's CPS-related things or the election or nullification, stuff I've been doing, teaching legislators all over the nation, in Virginia, Michigan, with Matt DePerno, Bill Bailey, with Mastriano's team in Pennsylvania, with Amanda Chase in Virginia, Candace Taylor in Georgia, we're working at Brandon Beach, some of the other legislators in Georgia, with Tim Rantham, obviously, and Janelle Branchin up there. Our team has been all over it, and then out here, I helped initiate the Maricopa Forensic Audit. I've been working very closely. We wrote the affidavits to push it.
Right.
We laid out. We wanted Colonel Waldron and Javon involved in it, and they were. And I've been working with Javon ever since. And we just hosted the release of his paper analysis.
I worked for 3 months at the audit myself, so I'm familiar.
You've seen it. You know what's going on. So it's all this stuff.
Something to look
I
at.
can show you. And I tell people, if you can name one thing, and I'll tell it right now for everybody, if you can name one thing Elijah Norton has done outside of donating money for the people politically, I'll drop out of the race right now.
Oh, okay. We're going to put that as the bio.
That's how
put
confident
that challenge
I am.
out there.
Yes.
So that sounds very confident.
Yeah.
I might say. So in studio, it sounds as confident as it does when you're watching it. I'm sure. I thank you for sharing all the rest of that information because
I had to get that off my chest.
That's okay. That's okay. We appreciate that. That's what we're here for. We want you to say what you want so people can hear firsthand what you think. Actually, that's the whole goal. That, So I'm going to actually give a quote from Carrie. We're not exactly saying bye, but a couple minutes. Doris is giving me the high sign over there. So it's so cool to have somebody that gives me a high sign. I see that on TV all the time, and now there's Doris. She does everything. She's our everything person, by the way. This is the only thing she doesn't do this right here. But so Carrie Lake, she's running for governor here in Arizona. I'm sure you've heard of her. So she says, no one fights harder than Josh Barnett. He brings fresh ideas and a passion for the America First agenda. I'll be voting for Josh, and I encourage all others living in Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, North Phoenix, and Cave Creek to vote for Josh as well. Let's send this fighter to D.C. So that's from Carrie Lake. I think it says a lot. She obviously endorses you strongly and is a huge supporter. So do your homework, everyone. I'll say it again. It can't be said enough. And learn who you're voting for so that what's happening now can somehow be abated or stopped this election or in the next cycle after this soon to be, or we will not be talking in studio for very long anymore because we're all going to be in soup lines. So
you know what's great about
that's
that
the thing.
What's great about that endorsement? Why it's great for me personally, because Carrie knows me on a personal level.
I know she does.
Mark Fincham knows me on a personal level. I've spoken to Mike Lindell. He knows what I've been doing.
You see them on.
He knows. We've talked. Wendy Rogers has seen and knows who I am and what I've been doing, and we've talked. All the people that have endorsed me know me
as a
Brandon
person,
Tatum,
not just on the candidate trail.
We've talked. They've seen the work and the work that I've been doing and the constitutional knowledge that I've been bringing to the table as a non-lawyer.
Right.
Alex Culloden, who I love as an attorney.
He was on last week.
He's fantastic. So Alex is great.
He is great.
And Alex introduced me to his mom and said, this guy has the most constitutional knowledge of any non-lawyer I've ever met in my life. Well, actually, most lawyers.
And he does, and you do.
And Alex, and I told Alex, that was probably the best thing I've heard from anybody, because
he
he's
is wicked smart.
He's so good when it comes to the law and the Constitution. And I just have a different perspective because I didn't learn it through a law school.
Right.
So it was good to hear. But all these people that have endorsed me, they know me. And it's not some weird outside endorsement, or
a bot endorsement.
Somebody coming out, and they endorse somebody. And I always say it's a legitimate endorsement, So
it
Carrie
is.
Lake, Mark Fincham, Wendy Rogers,
Officer
Mike
Brandon
Lindell,
Tatum.
Brandon Tatum.
And many more.
Yeah, I could go on and on. I hate to forget anybody, but
check out his website at
barnettforaz.com.
And you can see who endorsed him too. You can donate. You can go to volunteer. You can learn more about Josh and get out in the next week and a half before August 2nd, and you get to talk to him as well, just like I am right here. He's super accessible when he's out. Don't hesitate to ask him questions. So thank you. I know I'm kind of cutting you off. I'm sorry if I'm just getting the wrap. Thank you so much. You were very patient today with us, and I appreciate you coming over here for this and sharing with my audience a little bit more about you. So look up Josh, learn more about him and his campaign and what he wants to do for Arizona. Check me out too, please. I'd appreciate it on YouTube, especially. Subscribe if you go there. There's some good interviews at Patriot Mom 007. Also Facebook, Instagram, Clout Hub, and Getter and Truth Social. So hope to see you guys somewhere out there in social land. And this is American Perspective with Patriot Mom 007. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome.